Hi, sweeties. So we are on chapter 20, pot throwing. If you remember, they're gardening, um, building a skunk garden. So I think that might be what this chapter is about, but we shall see. The sleepover ended at noon the next day when the last of Janie's friends was picked up by her mother. "See you, Bat," said Frida. "Thank you, Janie. Thank you, Dr. Tam." The first kid to leave had been Israel. His parents had to pick him up early because they were taking a load of Cora's pottery to the farmer's market to sell, which they did every few months, and Israel had to help. So maybe that's what pot throwing is talking about, because remember, Israel's mom makes pottery. It was fun, he had said to Bat before he left, but Bat couldn't tell if that was the truth or not. Bat was still embarrassed about how he had yelled at Israel the night before, but he didn't like to apologize, and anyway, Israel shouldn't have kept pushing him about when they would have to release Thor into the wild. And the next day, a dreary, drizzly sort of day, Israel didn't come to school. "Maybe he is sick," Mom said. "There's a cold going around." She called Israel's house to find out, and sure enough, she found out that Israel had been under the weather. "That's a funny expression," Bat said. His voice felt sort of high and tight, because you can't really be under the weather or over the weather. You can't be in the weather or out of the weather. Don't you think? "I think," Mom said, nestling one gentle hand on Bat's shoulder, "that maybe you're still upset about fighting with Israel this weekend. Do you want to talk about it?" "I want to know what the weather will be like for the rest of the week," Bat said, rolling up into a ball on his feet. "You want to know whether the weather will be warm?" Mom said, squeezing Bat's shoulder. "Yes," said Bat, glad that Mom wasn't going to make him talk about Israel. Israel was back in school the next day, but he told Bat he didn't feel well enough to do anything together when they got back to his house. He appeared into his bedroom, leaving Bat in the kitchen with Tom. "I've got an idea," Tom said. "How about we get out our hands dirty?" Bat was not a big fan of dirty hands, but he didn't feel like saying no to Tom. So he followed him out of the back door, across the yard, under the sky dappled with gray clouds, and into Cora's shed. Cora was there, wrapping a vase in a thick swaddle of newspaper. "This one is on its way to Vermont," she told them. "I just sold it." "Great," said Tom. "Then, want to introduce Bat to the joys of pot throwing?" For a moment,